March 8, 2014. Kuala Lumpur International Airport. Malaysia Airlines Flight MH370, a Boeing 777 with 239 souls on board. Prepared for a routine red-eye flight bound for Beijing. The passengers were a mix of families, business travelers, and tourists, spanning 14 nationalities. The crew, seasoned professionals, carried out the pre-flight checks as they had countless times before. At 12:41 a.m., the aircraft lifted off into the night sky, its engines humming steadily as it climbed over the South China Sea. For the first 30 minutes, nothing seemed unusual. At 1:19 a.m., as the plane crossed from Malaysian into Vietnamese airspace, the co-pilot's voice came over the radio. "Good night, Malaysian 370. It was a routine sign-off expected before transferring to the next control center. Moments later, the plane's transponder, the device that identifies it on radar, went dark. Civilian air traffic control lost its signal. The Boeing 777 simply disappeared from their screens. But the aircraft had not vanished from the sky. Military radar later revealed MH370 had made an unexpected, dramatic turn westward, crossing back over the Malay Peninsula and heading toward the Andaman Sea for nearly an hour. It flew off course, unseen by the world except for faint traces picked up by defense systems. Then, sometime after 2:22 a.m., it dropped off military radar as well. The last faint handshakes between the aircraft and Inmarsat satellites suggested it continued flying for nearly 7 more hours. Plunging deep into the Indian Ocean, when news broke that contact had been lost, initial assumptions were of a crash in the South China Sea. Search and rescue operations began immediately, combing the waters near the last known civilian radar point. But as evidence of the westward turn emerged, the search shifted dramatically, stretching thousands of miles across vast ocean corridors. The disappearance became one of the largest and most complex searches in aviation history. The families of the 239 on board were left in torment, waiting in airports, clinging to the hope of survivors. Day after day, officials gave fragmented updates, often contradictory, fueling confusion and suspicion. No distress call had been made, no emergency signal activated. The crew, trained for crisis, had remained silent. How could a sophisticated jetliner, one of the safest in the world, simply vanish? Weeks turned into months, and months into years. The Indian Ocean, vast and unforgiving, gave up little. Then, in 2015, debris began to wash ashore. A flaperon, a wing fragment, was found on island, thousands of miles from the flight path. More pieces followed, confirmed to be from MH370, scattered along coastlines of Africa and Indian Ocean islands. They were grim reminders that the plane had indeed ended its journey in the ocean, but they revealed nothing about why. Theories flourished in the vacuum of certainty. Some pointed to mechanical failure, a sudden fire, a catastrophic decompression, systems breakdown that incapacitated the crew and passengers. But critics argued such failures would not explain the deliberate turns and prolonged flight. Others suspected foul play. Could one of the pilots have hijacked his own aircraft? Captain Zahari Ahmad Shah came under scrutiny, his home flight simulator examined for evidence. Some claimed he had practiced a flight path into the Indian Ocean, eerily similar to MH370's last arc. But no conclusive evidence tied him to a deliberate act. Other theories drifted toward darker conspiracies, a terrorist hijacking, secret military shootdown, even abduction scenarios. Yet no terrorist group claimed responsibility. No wreckage indicated missile strikes, and no credible proof surfaced of outside involvement. The silence of governments and intelligence agencies only deepened suspicion. The official search spanned over 120,000 square kilometers of seabed, using cutting-edge sonar and deep-sea drones. Yet despite years of effort, the main wreckage and black boxes remained unfound. In 2018, an independent U.S. firm, Ocean Infinity, mounted a privately funded search, combing new areas identified by refined satellite data. Even that came up empty. The Indian Ocean, with depths plunging beyond for miles, kept its secret. The disappearance of MH370 is more than a missing aircraft. It is a haunting absence. It's an open wound in modern aviation. For the families, the lack of answers is unbearable. For investigators, it is a riddle defying logic. Every plane leaves a trail, Every crash leaves debris. Every black box tells a story. Yet MH370 left only fragments scattered like whispers across the sea. In the years since, aviation has changed. New tracking requirements now ensure planes cannot simply vanish from radar. Cockpit security and data streaming protocols have been strengthened. But the fate of MH370 remains unresolved, hovering between tragedy and enigma. At 7:41 a.m., when MH370 was scheduled to land in Beijing, families gathered at the airport still expecting loved ones to step through the arrival gates. Instead, they were met with silence and confusion, and eventually, with the unbearable news, the flight was missing. 11 years later, the world still has no final answer to what happened in those dark skies. A Boeing 777, 239 people, a journey across the night, and then nothing. A plane swallowed whole by the ocean, or by something even darker. The last words, "Good night, Malaysian 370," echo across time. A haunting farewell to a flight that never arrived, and a mystery that may never be solved. That's it for today. Some crimes scar history, some mysteries haunt forever, until the next mystery. Stay vigilant.